Revenge of the Cybermen closes out Season 12, Tom Baker's debut season, and wraps up the four-story arc that began with the arc in space, where the Doctor, Sarah, and Harry arrive on Space Station Nerva, later beam down to Earth for the Centauran experiment, then attempt to return to Nerva, only to be intercepted by the Time Lords, who divert them to Scarrow for a little errand involving the Daleks. Our trio uses the Time Ring to get back to Nerva, with the three earlier entries in this arc being such strong outings. Revenge of the Cybermen inevitably suffers by comparison. It's not a bad story, it's just nowhere near as good as its predecessors. I think the best way to describe the story is that it's a sleepy, comfortable one. The kind of story you throw on while curled up under a blanket, and just chill out and vibe with it. I think part of what contributes to that vibe is that this story still suffers from the ghosts of the Pertwee Era a bit, which stands in contrast to the direction that Hinchcliffe has been taking the show during Season 12. This may in part be due to director Michael Briant, who had previously directed 4 Jon Pertwee stories: Colony in Space, The Sea Devils, The Green Death, and Death to the Daleks. Besides Revenge of the Cybermen, Briant also directed one of my favorite stories, The Robots of Death. We haven't seen the Cybermen since the 1968 story, The Invasion. They didn't appear at all during Jon Pertwee's 5 seasons of the show, and they won't be seen again until Earthshock in 1982, and then in The Five Doctors in 1983. Alright, let's get to a quick overview of the plot. The space station Nerva has been overrun with a plague that's killed off almost all of its crew. The plague is really just a deadly infection from a Cybermat. It's a plot point that's not too dissimilar to the arc in space, where the Wirrn have infected the space station. The visual effects of this infection are very effective, and Space Station Nerva is just as good a set as it was back when it was first used in the arc in space. We've got this douchebag guy, who is a very effective douchebag guy, working in league with the Cybermen. Their plan is to destroy the planet Voga, which has a ton of gold, the Achilles heel of the Cybermen. Voga is home to 2 warring factions of these droopy dog-looking guys, distinguished mostly by their hair and clothing choices, with one group sporting flowing locks, and the other opting for a tidier, more conservative look. You can really only tell the 2 main guys apart. The rest of them all just look the same. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the hell is going on between these guys. It's something like one group wants to keep hiding in the planet's interior, and the other wants to go to the surface and start trading gold, or something. Don't quote me on that. The Cybermen aren't particularly menacing in this story. They're just kind of there, running around, strapping bombs to people, and generally just being dicks. They're very much like the high school bully. Yeah, you're going to get your ass kicked, but you know they aren't going to kill you. I mean, unless you're a Vogan. Then you have a pretty good chance of getting mowed down by a Cyberman's head gun. The Vogans, not to be confused with the Vogans from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, have little boats and little trains they ride around on, like rides in a shitty amusement park. The Ks and set pieces for Voga aren't winning any awards for interior design. The updated special effects in this story are a welcome improvement from the original. The screens in the space station, the exterior shots of the station, and particularly the ending scene where the station is surfing the surface of Voga, are all served well with the special effects updates. Rather than Dudley Simpson, the music for the story was composed by Carrie Blyton. Blyton had previously contributed to only 2 other Doctor Who stories, The Silurians and Death to the Daleks. In the documentary The Tin Men and the Witch, producer Philip Hinchcliffe directs some criticism towards Blyton, stating, "I just don't think he really understood how to score action. I really got my knickers in a twist over the post-production of this show because I felt that the Vogans, they all looked bald and stupid, sort of Mickey Mouse running around. So I thought, oh God, this is not working at all. Normally in that situation, Dudley Simpson gets you out of the hole because you say to Dudley, this bit's not working. Really, you've got to do something here, Can you do this? So Dudley would often change the mood of something and get out of a hole if something wasn't working. This music compounded the sort of Mickey Mouse quality." Over on Blyton's banana-themed website, he adopts a somewhat defensive stance and shares a letter he wrote to Hinchcliffe at the time. Reading that letter, alongside the evident dissatisfaction with the work he did on Revenge of the Cybermen, it's clear why he was never invited to write for Doctor Who again. In his defense, it's not a terrible soundtrack, it's just not Dudley Simpson. But if the show's producer isn't happy with your work, you're not going to be asked back. Some interesting tidbits about this story. I never noticed it before making this video, but the dead bodies in the corridor are clearly dummies, except for when they need a close-up. Part 3 of this story is the 400th episode of Doctor Who. Between the broadcast of parts 1 and 2, First Doctor actor William Hartnell passed away. There's a moment where the Doctor and the space station crew, captured by the Cybermen, are posed in a way that invokes the classic hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil motif. I couldn't find any background information on this. It feels deliberately tongue-in-cheek, so there must be more to it. And the last interesting tidbit, the secret radio transmitter disguised as a clothes brush used by Kelman is the very same prop that appears in the James Bond movie Live and Let Die. The prop was handed over by none other than Roger Moore himself when he visited the BBC in 1973. Alright, enough with our little interesting factoids. Back to our show. The story wraps up pretty quickly with the Cybermen being dispatched to the ether with the Sky Striker rocket from Voga, the Doctor steering the space station off its collision course with Voga, the TARDIS reappearing, and the Doctor getting a message from the Brigadier to return to Earth for a pressing matter, and our TARDIS crew is off. With that, we wrap up Season 12 of Classic Doctor Who. We have 6 seasons ahead of us in our journey exploring the Tom Baker era, and I hope my spin on these stories has been as fun for you to watch as it's been for me to create. Each one of these videos takes a good bit of time to write and put together, so if you're enjoying the ride, please give a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for being here. Until next time.